In the name of competitiveness, EU is rolling back environmental regulation. The only problem is this is going to do more harm than good. If EU really wants to boost the competitiveness of the industry, they should increase the focus on sustainability, but do it in a business context. My name is Jasper Steinhausen, and this is Outside Perspective, where I bring you perspectives on issue in the intersection between sustainability and business. So, European industry is falling behind on competitiveness in the global race. That's the conclusion of several reports. And it also seems to be a widespread conclusion that there's too much regulation and too much reporting, and that's part of what brings down the competitiveness. There's simply too many costs on it. I have not been part of making these analyses, so I don't know the foundation for it, but it makes sense, especially when you look at CSRD and, for that matter, CSDDD, because by design it's very comprehensive, which I guess is a good thing altogether, but the reporting part and the compliance part is completely out of proportion. And to make matters worse, there is a whole industry of consultants which have been pretty busy at making sure that the market understood that this is highly complex and that it's very comprehensive, and it's hard not to see that they've been jumping on this as a business opportunity for them to sell tons of hours, which again from their perspective makes sense. But combined, this means that we have ended up with CSRD becoming this monster of compliance and reporting, and for most businesses, not all, but most, there's very little focus and very little attention on finding the actual business value that can come out of this. And that's a shame, because there is so much to do. So right now, when the European Union tries to follow Trump and the Chinese, I guess you could say, but especially Trump, he is basically trying to pull the American industry back in time, probably to around the 80s or something. And obviously that's not possible, and he will not succeed in this, especially on delivering on the promises in the middle to long term. But rather than following his trade and trying to compete on the turf of China and US by lowering our standards, that's not a recipe for winning. What we need to do is harness the qualities that we already have, where we have the opportunity to get further ahead of the game. So if it were up to me, what I would do was really to make CSRD about making business leaders really force them to connect and marry, I guess you could say, business and sustainability. Because when you look at it, there are so many examples of businesses focusing on sustainability where you reduce cost, you increase productivity, you increase customer loyalty, you attract better talent and get more efficient teams that are basically also more fulfilled to go to work every day. So people show up in a better version of themselves than if not. So this is the antidote to quiet quitting, I guess you could say. So rather than avoiding it and rolling it back, that will only give temporary reliefs, because of course companies are going to save money if they don't have to do all the reporting and all the compliance, so they'll be able to save on consultants and they'll be able to save on hiring people to run the specific programs. But in the long run, we're doing more damage than good to them, because companies today, they don't really get this. They don't get the opportunity side of this, and thereby if we don't push them into this direction, don't educate them, don't train them in it, they will never get started. And as I said, typical examples of what you get is lower cost, increased productivity, increased brand value, increased innovation, and even increased customer loyalty. And in my book, that is all part of creating a competitive edge. But maybe that's just me.